Hi, this is Roslynn Eve, and we're just fooling around with Photoshop today. And I thought you guys might like to know the process, because usually when I do these other practical art analysis videos, I'm talking from a finished perspective, what is good and not good, and what could be stronger and better, and so on. Whereas with this, now I'm going to show you guys what fun I had with Photoshop, but also how I'm making choices to get to the finished area. So this is the finished area. I wasn't considering doing this as a video, but hubby said, hey, why don't you do that as a video? So okay, let's put this one down. So this is where I started, and I went, okay, do I want a plain background? Well, not really. I thought I would go busy, because most of my paintings have been very non-busy and putting in busy areas. So I'm kind of doing the opposite with this stuff. So I thought I'd have some fun. So I just determined to go with the busy background. And you can see all these little spots. So I use this brush that is in here, provided in Photoshop, that I can upsize and downsize. So that's how I got the background there. And then I decided to add, so I'm going to take this away so you can see what I added. There is the lines that I added. Okay, and I also added, just so you see individually what I'm doing here. And then this, then this, then this. Okay, so we're going to go back to the beginning here. So I decided on the busy, and then I decided on the lines, just to break it up a little bit. And then I decided on the black rings, which you can now see there as well. By the way, this is a huge canvas. This is a 45 inch by 45 inch, just so you know. And then I decided to add, because this is so dark, I decided to go to medium. So if you are printing this out on a piece of paper out of your printer, then you're going to find that even though this is really intense and seems like a light pink, it really isn't. It's going to come out middle gray there when it comes out. Okay, so this is all dark and medium. So anything light now that we put on there is going to become more visible and more of an area of interest, because of the contrast of the light to dark. So there you go. So then I added these green rings, and it's a little bit lighter and a more intense color. And you thought that the pink was intense right before I put that there. Look again. Yeah, doesn't that? You add that and it's way more. Okay, so then I went almost white. This is actually off-white. And I decided for contrast again, because we've got circles and we got all these little circles in the background, we got the lines. I decided, well, let's do squares for contrast to make it more exciting, because when there's so much of anything, it becomes more boring, and the less of something, you're going to notice it more. Like with light to dark, we've got such an extreme there, right? The range of light to dark. Okay, so then I decided to put an even lighter green there around this where I want people to look. So unfortunately I didn't keep the changes between here and the final one, because I didn't know I was going to do this video on it. Thank you, hubby. And so I decided that I would really like to add more ingredients, because in my book there's 40 ingredients, and I'm going, well, what can I do to make it even more exciting yet than this? So then I decided to add some more circles back in, but also I decided to add texture. So that's a new ingredient, right? So I'm going to bring this up so you can actually see the texture that I've added. And by the way, under filter is where I got it. So if you go down here, all the way down to texture, and then you can go over and pick what you want under the texture menu. And this is really cool, because if you, okay, just to show you what it looks like. Maybe I shouldn't have gone this direction because it seems to be taking a while. Okay. Anyway, it shows you, and there's like a bunch of images of different textures, and you can pick, and then you can see if you like it, and then if you don't like it you can cancel, and so on. So it's really neat. Anyway, so this, I decided to go with texture. Let's make the image bigger so you can see the texture there. And so I decided to go canvas on the background here. That's the canvas one. And I'll just back it off a little bit. And this here is the cracklature. I guess I need a closer up for that one, don't I? So this is the canvas, this is the cracklature one, and you can see it probably even better here on this blue, the blue-green, you know. So you've got the two different textures. So we've got, you know, again, contrast with texture, because we've got the smooth areas and then the textured areas, so it makes it more exciting. And you can see this was a really heavy textured one. The red here I did in burlap. So I thought that was kind of cool. So when you've got so much texture and only a little bit of smooth, then you're going to notice the smooth area more because there's so little of it. So these were the reasons for my choices that I was making to try to make this a more exciting image. Okay, so, and I know most people don't think of circles or shapes as creating, like they, you know, how lines are considered, especially on an angle, action. It gives you a feeling of action. Well, shapes can do that too, because you see all these angles that the shapes, the circles are on, can give you a feeling of busyness or action too. So just to keep that in mind. And with this one, I decided to more heavily go with the box. So you can see over here, see how I added the extra box around the squares there to make it more exciting. And I also decided to make a little more non-busy space. So I put black inside of these circles here, because you can see in this first one here how the background is showing through, and here it isn't. So I filled the pink ones only, not the blue or the green. I filled the pink ones with some empty black space. So now the reason I decided to go with the polka dots again was to highlight those areas, and size is showing this to be the main area of interest because it's biggest. It's also on the third line cross point. You see you've got a third in from the side, and you've got a third up from the bottom is the line, you see, which would be right, I don't know, about there, I guess. So this one is a little low because so it's not on directly on those lines. You'll see it as less of an area of interest, and the same here. And also because all the exciting stuff is part of this area of interest, putting it in support of but not right on it, like if I had filled this box up with red and made it the burlap, then it could become a little bit more competition that you want to look there over here. You see what I mean? So doing that is actually downplaying this as an area of interest by making it support it as an area of interest but not be the main area of interest. And the same here, having it next to it supports it, but it doesn't create it as the main area of interest. So we don't have that competition thing going on. Well, where am I supposed to look? See, I believe that artists control where the viewer looks in the image, and I'm telling you how I achieved that. Okay, so I'm not saying you're going to really think that my painting here is really great or anything, because I'm certainly not, you know, very practiced with doing abstract stuff. But I am saying this is the reasons why I chose what I did, and I'm showing you how it does make a difference in the strength and visual impact that your image has, so that it makes it stronger and more memorable. So adding more ingredients made it more exciting and made it more memorable, because let's face it, with this one, you take away some of these ingredients and it just doesn't have the excitement and the memorableness, does it? Like let's leave out some of the other stuff. You see what I mean? It's just not, it doesn't have that excitement, right? Okay, so that's that one. And so there's the final result. This is just some more stuff that I was fooling around with. And by the way, this is this cracklature again, texture and things that you can do with it. You see, isn't that so neat? And then I just put the smooth black lines in there in the smooth black area. And I made a fake frame in the digital fake frame for it and everything. So it can also help you to determine if you're buying frames for stuff. You put your picture of your painting in there and then you make a fake frame. You try a bunch of different frames on there, help you pick what's gonna make your painting look really good. So there's so many neat things about it. And the last thing I also wanted to mention here was the neat thing about playing with stuff in the computer is that if I don't like a layer, when you do it in layers and you experiment, you know, these different layers with it, that you can say, well, gee, you know, I really don't like that layer, so I'm just going to delete it. You know what I mean? So you're not, when you do a painting, then if you change things, well, it's wrecked, right? Whereas in the computer, as long as you do it in layers like that, then you save different versions and things, you can go back and grab a layer and put it in again, or leave it out, or you see what I mean? Like you're not losing anything until you delete an old version, which I did, and that's why we don't have the interim stuff here process. So this is again the final result. Well, I hope you found this interesting. It was really fun for me, and if you're not familiar with Photoshop, I sure hope that you consider it, because Photoshop and Corel are really neat, and I think I'll even do a couple little videos on different things that you can do with it, just to give you guys more of an idea of the fun stuff that you can do with it, because it is cool. Okay, well, thank you. Bye for now. Oh yes, and this is my email. There's my email if anybody needs to contact me. And this is my Facebook page, where I keep some of my videos. Some of them are on YouTube and some of them are on here, and vice versa. Some of them are on here that aren't on YouTube. So anyway, okay, well, thank you, and hopefully we will catch you next time. Alrighty. Okay, bye-bye.